Good morning, everyone. Good morning. What an exciting Monday, right? Who doesn't love a good Monday? We got some interesting stuff to talk about today, that's for sure. We're going to talk about, let's drop that lighting down a little bit. We got some interesting stuff to talk about related to machine learning, a little bit of what Meta is working on, a little bit of a Washington Post article that came out that we got to chat about because we're talking about $1 million salary. So pretty impressive stuff. For those of you who don't know or your first time here, I'm Rob Petrosino, futurist, technologist, and all-around great guy. My job is to make you feel comfortable about emerging technology, understand why it's important, what it means for you and your organization, but also answer questions, talk to you about different things that are happening, and just be a resource for you. Happy to always chat with you. If you're not following on the socials, make sure you check out those below. Look forward to chatting with you soon. Shoot me a DM, ask me a question, feel free to comment. I got a bunch of different streams open. We're live on Kick, we're live on Twitch, we are live on YouTube, we are live on LinkedIn, and I appreciate you all coming and joining. Feel free to comment. I got a bunch of different streams up. If you have any questions or thoughts or opinions on what we're talking about today, this is fully interactive, and I will 100% chat with you about this. So that being said, let's talk about this. Just yesterday, or a couple days ago, actually, 3 days ago, the Washington Post put out an article about how much Meta was paying for their VR developers. So we're going to dig into that first, but we're also going to dig into what a little bit of the recent launches have been. So we talked about Segment Anything, Meta's new tool that came out. We're going to talk about that again, and then we're going to talk about LERF, which is Language Embedded Radial Fields. We're going to get into that one. That one's really cool. But with that, the most important thing that we do here is head on over to the screen share. Okay, so with that, let's talk about what's going on at Meta. So this came out a couple days ago. This is a little bit of an insider leak, but not too surprising. What we are hearing is that Meta is actually saying they were spending about some of the salaries for VR developers were up to $1 million. Okay, let's get into the nitty gritty of this. So programmers capable of building virtual reality powered apps, games, and technology can earn a total compensation from $600 to approaching $1 million. It's an individual compensation package for a contributor to product. So when we think about what this means, right, this is coming from several sources that were at Meta within the HR department that are no longer with the company, but they were saying that they were seeing total compensations of upward of $600,000 for VR development. So that means what we're committed to, or what Meta has committed to, is obviously the furthering development and impact of VR within their headset, right? We're all familiar with the Quest Pro headset that came out. It was a $1,500 headset that impacted the Meta business quite substantially. Their whole intent and purpose was to revolutionize how VR was used and how often it can be used for a variety of different use cases, from people in their own home all the way through workplace scenarios. What that looked like was we saw a slew of different meetings pop up, meeting type tools pop up in VR, where they're avatar based or multi-platform based, so that I could have myself in a video screen, or I can have myself as an avatar. That has been something that we've seen them focus on. But these tools that are being built and packages that were being put together needed to be developed by an in-house team at Meta just due to IP. And because of that, they were paying significantly higher to get these VR developers. Now, how do I know that? Well, it says right here. So they're paying significantly more to than a lot of gaming companies. Now, the reason for that is because gaming companies traditionally have to carve out new customer segments every time that a game is launched, whereas Facebook feels that they have, to some degree, already carved out their audience and has a self-fulfilling ad-driven revenue stream. Now, that has had its struggles as of late, okay? That has been a significant number of struggles for those people that are out there who don't know, but Meta overall dollar amount invested into the platform from external organizations that are running ad revenue is significantly down. That's just a fact of the matter. That being said, what we saw here is that it's not an exaggeration that their total compensation is double or more than double of what you'll see at a large gaming company. Very true. If you're going to elicit people away from working on passion project or passion driving projects like video games and move them into something that is a little bit different while working at Meta, you're going to need to significantly drive up the price of those salaries. Now, what's also interesting is these VR-powered headsets and augmented reality glasses, which is a little bit of a confusing concept here. So the Quest Pro does both VR and AR. It has those 4K cameras on the outside so you can see the real world. But what they're saying is that this will eventually replace some in-person communication, which is something that I can agree with. We knew Zoom fatigue was ever present during the COVID and the global pandemic related to it, so Zoom fatigue was real. That being said, because of Zoom fatigue, they felt that there was the ability to replace some in-person communication there. However, the high salaries and investment in Meta, the investment Meta's made for a metaverse style activity forced them to cut 13% of their workforce, which is a little bit over 11,000 jobs. This is all true. Now, they pay market rate or higher for a lot of those jobs, and getting those people out of those other organizations to move over to Meta is a difficult process, which is what they're saying here. And what they're saying is that this technology is new, it is hard to work with, and because it's new and hard to work with, it needs significant investment in dollars. The other thing they go through here is that they talk about how Meta had somewhere between 30 and 40 pet projects that were going on, and not many of them were related to social media, which is not exactly surprising when you think of Meta being a quite literal monopoly on most of the social media outlets that are out there, that they were doing things that were not in social media. I know this might be shocking for investors, but when you've totally and completely captured a market, you need to build a new market, and that's what they were doing on the metaverse style stuff. Now, with that, this is an interesting fact, and then we'll pivot over to segment everything, but over the last 2 years, the tech industry has shed 332,000 jobs. This is really a staggering number, and something that I think happened to tech a little bit earlier than it happened to some of the other groups or markets that are out there. So interesting kind of thing to keep in mind. But what are the things, what are some of the things that they were working on over there that some of these VR developers were working on? Well, this segment anything tool is 100% something that got worked on by these VR developers. And the reason we know that is because this specific use case here. On this left-hand side, what we're seeing, let's zoom in just a hair. All right, hold on. So this left-hand version that we're seeing over here is directly streamed from the Meta Quest Pro device. And what is happening is it's using eye tracking, the eye tracking that's already on the device, and then enabling the segmentation of individual frames to see what people or what a user is looking at. So this type of technology and tool would have been developed by those VR developers. However, they may not have been touching the machine learning engine that powers behind it. Now, one of the things we can say that this is post live stream done. So this is someone would go through an experience, wear the headset, wear the glasses, they would take that video and then keyframe individual portions of that video based on the eye tracking and then segment it. Okay, it can't be done in real time yet. So that's a portion of why this is the way that it is because it is done in post-production or after the fact. And the reason for that is because it would just take computational speed, would struggle significantly. So this is the type of tool that would actually get worked on by these VR developers. And then something that we would also see is a combined group of VR and AR developers, VR developers, machine learning developers, and maybe some of the AR guys, guys and gals, that may have been working on either side. We would see these type of tools explained as well, or tested across platform, meaning that they would use some of the machine learning output to pull it into a virtual reality, or use virtual reality hardware, AR hardware, to pull that information into a machine learning data set. So these are types of things that we're going to be seeing coming out because of this investment dollar that they are spending on virtual reality, which is fair, completely fair amount of money that is going to be spent when you have obviously lots of it and you're looking to carve out a brand new segment of potential users. That being said, we wanted to go over to LERFs. So this is really interesting. Based on the segment anything data, or segment anything model, we can see that Meta released the ability to segment anything that is on a specific photo, whether it's a turtle, whether it's a frog, whether it's the snail on top, or an individual part of this building. They also can select or individually select each part of this. So this is segment anything. What happened on the other side prior to segment anything coming out was this idea of LERF, which is a language embedded radiance field. A NERF is the ability to take a video and create a 3D model around it. And then a LERF is when you add in a language model to identify different objects within that 3D model. This is really, really, really interesting. So when we look at this example, they are using a NERF of a bouquet. When they start talking to the model, they ask it to select different daisies, carnations. They also have big white crinkly flower, lily, etc. They're enabling all of this to be searched based on the information that it's found inside of the NERF. So it's not only doing the segmentation, but it's also doing the classification of the objects inside of it. These types of experiences are absolutely necessary for the long-term future of VR and AR headsets. We can take another example here where we can see peppermill, or vegetable oil. These different things are getting highlighted directly because of the language embedded in this NERF model. So you can talk to directly the scans that you have created, which is incredibly impressive overall, because this unlocks a lot of opportunities in the future when the headset can maybe run this directly without any latency. Imagine being able to put on a pair of glasses and ask, the glasses which set of orange juice has the most vitamin C and the least sugar, and being able to see a highlighted product while you're shopping. These types of tools will actually enable that for the long run, which is what we want. We want the enablement of information to be visually displayed and analyzed by the devices that we control, and then those devices have an edge computing power to segment and identify different things. When this happens, we will see a significant change in how we work. These types of solutions, powered by head-mounted displays like AR and VR headsets, is in the long run what's going to be extremely successful for the business. So can we justify, or can we say that these types of experiences are here and not going anywhere? Yes, absolutely. Will we see the rapid adoption of this type of technology, meaning head-mounted displays used for work, home, pleasure, entertainment, etc.? Without a doubt. When that adoption happens, will be justified purely based on the ability of the technology to scale down and be extremely comfortable. For instance, if you have not heard of the IVAS project, that is where our future warfighters will wear a visor on their helmet, and that visor will allow to flip down, powered a little bit by Microsoft HoloLens, to see different things on the battlefield. But That unit in and of itself currently sits at a little bit over 4 pounds. There's a lot to wear on your head and neck. So in future iterations, they said they're going to try to get it down to 2 pounds, which would be the equivalent of night vision, enhanced night vision goggles that some operators wear now. But that is our major difficulty. These devices are still heavy. They still require an external or onboard battery. They need high levels of data transfer from device to cloud and to cloud to machine learning processing for any of this to be successful. So we are still in the infancy. We still see things that are coming that are going to be interesting. However, if we have them being interesting and they are growing slowly at a very good clip, it's something that we should keep in mind as being implemented in the future and how it's going to affect our businesses. So with that, I appreciate y'all coming in. I appreciate you having any questions. Feel free to reach out. If you're you want to sit down and have a meeting, let me know. If you're interested in referring someone over to me, absolutely would love that as well. But typically what happens at the end of these is someone will reach out and shoot me an email and want to chat, and I'm more than happy to do that, even if it's a referral for another speaking event. This type of technology is not going anywhere. I appreciate you coming in, appreciate you spending some time with me, and more importantly, I'll see you on the other side.